So today, freaking Phil, So Phil and I are going to talk to you today about how the 3080 launch went. That guy.
Can I buy this?
No.
Oh.
How the 3080 launch went. We're going to talk about some of the things that maybe, I'm going to move the box so it doesn't affect the mic. How it went, maybe some ways it could have gone better, some of the new problems and challenges we're seeing in purchases, especially during this period of pandemic. And just sort of our thoughts on that, because I feel like this train derailed before it ever even got to like vicinity of the train station.
You got like one chugga out of the station.
The Galahad closed loop liquid CPU cooler from Lee & Lee is available in white and black and are compatible with most CPU sockets on today's popular motherboards. Available in both 240 and 360 sizes, you're sure to get plenty of cooling for any of today's most demanding CPUs. Sophisticated RGB lighting with 47 addressable LEDs means you can customize the Galahad to match any aesthetic you choose. To see the full list of compatibility of Lee & Lee's new Galahad AIO, click the link in the description below. So on the 17th, and this video is a couple days late, I believe Steve already did one of these. You're probably gonna see a few of these videos, people talking about the launch, because we've been preaching for months now this was coming. And we've also been saying that amount of time, getting one in the first round is gonna be very difficult. And to understand that, all you had to do was look at any of the previous launches. And 20 series, which was, I think you agreed too, probably one of the biggest like letdowns in terms of price to performance increases we saw generation on generation.
And they still sold that out.
They sold that out again in minutes. The difference is this time it was sold out, I think, before it ever
Probably
went.
in seconds, honestly.
Or if it wasn't gone before it ever even went in stock.
Yeah.
So I tweeted yesterday, you know, who tried to get a 3080? How did it go? And I'm just gonna pick some of kind of the most, well, here we go. Never saw anything in Australia. NVIDIA website didn't get the notify me email. There's a lot of people complaining that they signed up for the notifications and they didn't get those. And this isn't just NVIDIA's website. We're talking about any e-tailer or retailer, Microsoft? No. Micro Center, I was trying to say that. Micro Center, which is a brick and mortar, and most of the people that got one actually got them at a Micro Center.
Yeah.
So way to go Micro Center, because they probably didn't even sell them online. Best Buy's online purchases, Newegg, right? I don't think, is Tiger Direct still a thing?
Dude, I haven't heard that name in like,
Yeah.
It's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Who knows how else it went, but what I'm seeing a common thread here is people were like, I never got notified. And I have a theory as to why that might be.
Or if they got notified, it was like an hour and a half late, which is useless.
If their mail server is on the same server as their website, and if the websites were getting hammered by the thousands of people F5ing nonstop, plus however many times the bots are doing it through a script, I feel like that it got clogged up to the point where the mail server might have crashed too. Now, a lot of these major corporations and stuff use a mail server service, which is somewhere else, but that's the only explanation I have for some of these people not getting the notification. The reason why I even mentioned this Twitter poll that I did, it wasn't even a poll, it was more of just answer, not a physical poll. I had to really, really dig to find anyone that actually got one. And then to find and if someone was like, I got one, I'm like, prove it, show me a picture.
Yeah.
And it's like car seated in and buckled into their chair, like their car. And it was like, okay, how did you get it? And it's almost always like, oh, I went to Micro Center, or I actually went to Best Buy. But here's what's funny. There's one guy that said he returned his 2080 Ti the day before launch, got his full $1,300 back, strolled up to Micro Center right before they opened, went to the first guy in line and was like, I'll pay you $500 to give me your spot. And that guy was like, okay. So he took the $500, bought the card for $800, walked out of there with the card for the same $1,300 he just refunded, and didn't have to wait in line.
I guess
There's people that do that iPhone launch.
Yeah. They'll pay for a spot in line, which I think honestly is significantly less ethically wrong than scalping, because at least you're going there and paying for that thing.
The scalp was passed to himself. It wasn't like,
he scalped him. Yeah.
So it wasn't like hey, give me $500 and I'm gonna take your spot. That's what scalping does.
Yeah.
And so anyway, this is all kind of tying into the next segment I want to talk about here, and that is the fact that the other real common thing I saw was people saying it went from notify me to out of stock instantly. I have two trains of thought on that. One, it's the bots, bots. And yes, bots are a problem.
Yeah.
And this is the first launch, I think, where we're seeing bots be a problem in our space.
Yeah.
You know, we see Apple's accustomed to bots, and they have some pretty good measures to circumvent that, right?
The market that I've seen this significantly affect things is things like streetwear apparel and that sort of stuff. Because I have a bunch of friends that like, are sneakerheads.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that bull stuff as bounce alerts as well.
Yeah, and like my friends that are trying to get shoes to genuinely to wear, not to scalp or anything, like have to use bots.
Yeezys?
Like
it's Yeezys, right?
Those Yeezys.
Yeezys?
That was the most boomer.
Sounds like a drink. Shoe? Where's gonna put? How are you gonna walk on a drink? That's the stupidest thing I ever. You are dummy.
Yes, Jay's 73 years old.
Get off my warehouse.
What I was trying to get at was that when my friends have to use bots of their own just to purchase one of the shoe pair, like you have to bot to counter bot the bots. It's ridiculous.
Let's talk about the bots for a second here. There's a service out there which, like you were just kind of talking about, called Bounce Alerts, and it specifically started because of the popularity of these like one-off shoes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the only way you could get it was to have a computer do it for you, which is much faster than you clicking through stuff and hoping your internet connection holds out and all that stuff. And then anytime you have to restart the order, refresh your web page, the script is able to kind of restart much faster than you can.
Yep.
But the problem is now that's become the way these resellers and scalpers are doing it. So you talked about a very genuine use of the bot, which is, I want a pair of shoes, I got a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Not, I'm going to order 500 pairs of shoes. Okay, it's probably exaggerated. Let's say 40 pairs of shoes when there's only maybe 100 of these pairs of shoes in the world.
Exactly.
Right? Custom stuff. And then I'm going to resell them for 5 times what they're worth on eBay. But speaking of bounce alerts, it's now made its way into our industry because what these people are doing is they're looking to make profit. And these are people that think, I don't have to know anything about the industry. I just have to know people want it.
Yep.
And I'm an opportunist. And so what I'm gonna do, and I'm touting a dangerous line here saying this needs to be stopped because I'm a capitalist.
Right.
I am making, this is a for-profit company. It helps me pay you and Brian and overhead.
But read their bio.
Exclusive group creating the next generation of hustlers revolving around sneakers, investments, low-key flips, and more. It's $75 a month.
So these guys are straight up like, if my friends are using the bots just to buy like one pair of sneakers for themselves, this is pretty much that same thing but weaponized at this point.
Right.
This is exclusively designed.
Right.
It's a group of people that are designed to try and buy 40 graphics cards and then flip them all.
So there was actually an interview PC Mag did with one of the is it a founder?
It was a admin.
Guess what the admin had to say, and this is probably what's going to get people really mad because read it.
Our job at Bounce Alerts was to ensure our consumers were able to purchase the product for their needs.
I mean, technically they're consuming.
Yeah, they are. The admin for Bounce Alerts said consumers should, quote unquote, blame the limited supplies on COVID-19 disrupting manufacturing in Asia. When given the chance, I'm sure most people would purchase more than 10 units if they have the capital and look to make upwards of $25,000 in one single day from the secondary market, the admin said, later adding, we hope they're able to get on the next release.
Yeah, they, as in the people that he's saying should be profiting and flipping this. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we're into a moral dilemma.
Right.
Right.
Because this isn't a legal dilemma.
Is this right
legal.
or wrong?
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is illegal for ticket sales, but it doesn't apply to, because government regulation, and this is where I said I'm going to start getting into a very dangerous territory as somebody that likes free capitalism, is now I'm saying this is exploitation and it's wrong, and it's really messed up because these people have no intentions of doing anything except artificially inflating the price of this stuff. Speaking of artificially inflated, you guys I'm sure have seen pictures of these cards going for $80,000, $50,000. Those are not real bids, by the way. There was a guy who basically used his programming and bot scripting abilities to fight the bots with bots. So why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
The forum post I think is taken down by now, but this guy said, like you all, I waited up all night for launch, refreshing the page, and instantly sold out. I saw the bots on eBay selling them for $1,200 to $1,400, and I was so salty that I wrote a quick bot to target eBay auctions. The bot makes an account and puts in ridiculous bids that no one will pay. If it is an auction, the scalper ain't profiting now.
Now there's another side to that. Because the eBay bidders, or not bidders, but the sellers don't want to go through the whole claim process of somebody not paying, are now going in and making ridiculously high bids themselves with their own secondary accounts so that they can win the bid. They don't plan on paying, so they don't have to deal with any of like the hassle you have to go through of a non-paying bidder, because there's time you have to wait to relist the item. There has to be time for a resolution.
Right, because if you're trying to inflate my price so I can't sell it, if I inflate it even more and then I win my own item, then I can also pay myself $0 and then, you know what I mean?
And then relist it.
Exactly.
But fortunately, the bot is working in the sense that it's keeping anyone from buying those cards.
Yeah.
Now, I've also seen some people be like, I would gladly pay $1,200 for a 3080. And a lot of people, I think, would have obviously bought this card at $1,200 if it matched the FE price of the 2080 Ti. But I do like seeing these people that probably used bounce alerts and stuff to get these cards. Now, let's keep in mind, these listings went up before these people truly had these cards in hand.
Yeah.
A couple of them were actual photos of the card and were up online, if it's even their photo, who knows.
Right.
But the fact that they were even listing it before they physically had it, it's already sketch.
Confirmed order as a listing.
Confirmed order doesn't mean you're gonna get it.
And it also doesn't mean NVIDIA won't cancel the order once they review all these orders and then notice that you ordered.
It's like we're on the same wavelength. I was about to segue into, so what are retailers doing about this?
Right.
Well, okay, so the retailers that, the main three we're probably gonna talk about here is gonna be Newegg, Amazon, and NVIDIA. Because remember, NVIDIA has direct sales now too with their own AIB FE designs. Now, what we found very interesting about this is, and you did find a quote from NVIDIA saying that they've now put a limit in place. With the 20 series, I recall seeing from day one limit 2 per customer.
Yeah.
And we believe the 2 per customer was because the 2080 Ti could still SLI, and so could the 2080. It was limit 2 per customer from the moment it launched. Now, it's important to have these limitations because, oh, Jay, the bots can still just buy them. It takes longer still for bots to do multiple orders than one order filling a cart of whatever quantity shows available.
Yeah, you're never going to completely get rid of the bots, but anything that you can do to mitigate them, you know, keeping it out of the hands of a genuine customer is something that's going to help.
So it appears that there wasn't a limitation, because I saw on my own Twitter feed, somebody linked me to another tweet from somebody that was bragging about, hey, thanks NVIDIA for not having a quality limitation because here's my confirmed order for 14 haha suckers. It was, the guy was literally gloating about it. But NVIDIA has also said that they are doing both AI and manual review of every order and canceling orders that seem fishy.
Yeah, they said...
what do they consider fishy, though?
Quote unquote, to stop bots and scalpers on the NVIDIA store, we're doing everything humanly possible, including manually reviewing orders, to get these cards in the hands of legitimate customers. We apologize to our customers for this morning's experience.
I feel like that's something that could have been maybe not necessary to begin with, had there been just the straight up limitation to begin with.
Yeah, I can't find that quote, but there was that one guy, though. Oh, yeah. The world's leading AI company can't stop footwear bots? You look like fools, wrote one angry user in NVIDIA's official forum.
Well, to be fair, and since people always like, well, to be fair, it takes time for AI to learn. And this is probably not something they've ever tried to learn before.
Well, and also their deep learning group isn't the same group as Digital River.
They're not going out there seeing who's bloating sneaker sales, you know? But I have no doubt NVIDIA might be capable of really finding a solution to this. And as fast as solutions are found, new cracks and new hacks are enabled.
Maybe new market for NVIDIA to push their AI research in.
But it's looking a lot like, you know, Best Buy and a lot of these places didn't have any true or any true measures in place to try and stop bots from circumventing these measures. Like
except for Newegg, right? Newegg was kind of...
Well, yeah, we'll talk about Newegg in a sec. But basic, and I said Amazon, or I meant Newegg when I said it. I don't know how Amazon did any of this. In fact, if you want to do a fun little experiment right now, go over to Best Buy, type 3080 in the search bar, and look at the reviews. And most of those people don't even have the card. They're reviewing the experience of trying to buy the card. It's a ton of 1-star reviews, which is kind of sad because, I mean, it's not indicative of the card's value to future customers when things do normalize, which, don't get me wrong, things are going to turn normal again. This is not forever. It's just with the amount of interest and the amount of people that want this card, they're naturally going to be upset. And that's fine. And that's fine to be upset. But I think it's important to also channel that rage and that anger to the right places. Like, for instance, for me, Bounce Alerts is a very good place. Like, go to their Twitter and just harass the crap out. No, okay, don't go and harass them. I'm not allowed to tell people go harass. But I mean, still, seriously, it's like those are the people that are making this tough. Phil and I were discussing this. The real hustler is Bounce Alerts, because remember, if their service was so great, they wouldn't be, and they want to be this community, they wouldn't be charging you $75 a month just to be a part of it. And the amount of people that actually believe paying that money to something like that makes them part of a community is kind of sad.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, I feel like this is like the tech version now of like, we've cured cancer, and then we're gonna sell it to you for an astronomical price.
Is it the tech version of essential oils?
Yeah, it's Herbalife.
It's Herbalife.
I couldn't find anyone on here that quickly or easily got one Although I did find some people say, hey, I went to NVIDIA's website and it said sold out, and I went back an hour later and it said in stock, and they actually got an order for one and a confirmed and a shipping confirmation.
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening was the amount of people and bots that were hitting the website so hard were actually bringing down the site. So there was a lot of people that weren't able to buy at the very moment because the site wasn't loading. But they just happened to be like that right caller at the right moment during the radio contest that didn't get a busy signal the first time they tried. And that's exactly what happened here. So what should these brands be doing? By brands, I mean retailers. What should they be doing to try and circumvent these bots? Is it possible? Do you think bots is just, this is here to stay now and this is the new norm for buying new tech?
I mean, I feel like with any struggle with, a script versus a human is that, like, websites have CAPTCHAs all over the place just to make sure that you're, an actual human being.
But they've learned how to circumvent almost all those CAPTCHAs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always going to be a cat and mouse game. But like, the more of those like features and methods that you use to try to anti-bot, like, again, it just mitigates the amount of the bots that can make it through.
I don't know if this is possible, but you know what I feel like would work? On launches like this, at least for the launch window where there's high demand, what if you have to enter a phone number? And then to complete the order, you have to enter the confirmed
Yeah, but you can get a free phone number from Google Voice.
But our bot's set up to scan a phone number and put in a confirmation code.
I think they are the. Oh, you're right. That's interesting. Yeah, if they had
so it's like two-factor purchasing.
I thought I read something about that where some retailers were doing two-factor, but not for this card. But you know what I mean? Like they do that two-factor thing.
What we were discussing here is it's like trying to stop a car thief from stealing your car. You're never going to stop a professional car thief. I used to install car stereos for a high-end shop, and the owner was a reformed car thief.
Yeah.
Car sales, same thing. Car salesman, car thief. Yeah. Anyway, and he told me, he said, all you have to do is make it seem like it's going to take longer than it's worth.
Right.
So it's about slowing them down, and you have to slow down the bots.
Like the Bounce Alerts guy says, we hope they're able to get on the next release. It's only going to get worse for the retailers from here on out.
I think one of the quotes that NVIDIA put out that made a lot of people kind of go, wait, what? Was they said they've been in full production since August. Now, I don't know how fast they can produce cards. Now, and this is also, is this full production for their FE? Is this the silicon? So the components
I
they're
would
selling,
assume that it would be for their FE, like for their
Because I would have had to have assumed they were manufacturing the silicon before that.
Yeah, because they have to have enough, obviously, to give to the AABs.
Right. So I think a lot of people were surprised to find out, like, wait a minute, you weren't in production all summer long already? Because a lot of people, I think, just assume, like, oh, by the time we see it, it's been around for a year, And it might have been floating around on R&D tables and engineers' labs and stuff in NVIDIA.
Yeah, exactly. Like 20 engineering samples isn't a run. That's not a production run.
But I think a lot of people are surprised about the fact that they've only been manufacturing for about a month and a half. But the other thing, too, I think, is there's another key to this that a lot of people aren't talking about, and I'm not going to say where I was kind of given this little tip, but there's still import complications happening right now, given our current administration, the tensions happening with Asia, and given the pandemic and all that. That it's a lot longer to get these shipments in through the import ports in customs, and so it's looking a lot like the actual quantity that these retailers had was much lower than they were expecting for launch.
Yeah.
Because I had one person tell me that the Micro Center they went to got 10 across all brands. I think it would be prudent for someone from Micro Center to come out and be like,
do the voucher thing.
Here's your vouchers.
Yeah.
But there's a problem with vouchers too, and I want to address that before this video gets way too long. Is coming out and saying, guys, we only have X amount. So there's the cutoff.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with the voucher thing is someone's just gonna leave and sell the voucher. Now, what happens is if you've got 20 vouchers, you give off 20 vouchers, someone changes their mind and just leaves with that voucher. And you've got people still waiting for cards, but a card that hasn't been picked up by the voucher yet. So you have to have a cutoff time. Here's your voucher. It's only good for the first hour.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's free game. So the voucher would be kind of like the confirmation on your phone, your two-factor, being able to purchase it. But it's looking more and more like the inventory didn't arrive. And it's trickling in. That's actually good news if that's the case for a lot of you guys, because what that means is you can continue checking every day.
Yeah.
And it's gonna suck. It's gonna be a full-time job. Don't rely on the notify me button. Period.
Yeah.
Don't rely
Not
on
right
that.
now, no.
Because if 20 series taught us anything, it's the people that are like, I got an email and I clicked it the second it came in, and then I went there and it was already gone. Now think about the time it takes for the inventory to come in, and they're like, okay, we've got some now, let's send out the notification email. The time for the email server to process it, to send it, time for your Gmail or whatever to check your email. If you've got to fetch every 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're already adding to that latency.
But even if you have push, you're gonna be several minutes behind. And there is always going to be those people that are just...
So it's kind of like a perfect storm of like low/slow availability. Yeah. These botters suddenly, realizing
what was available.
Yeah.
Realizing there's profit.
Yeah, exactly. Suddenly realizing that there's profit in the, in the PC space. And then, you know what I mean? And just insane amounts of hype from the, from people that may or may not have completely fallen into NVIDIA's marketing stuff.
This guy on Twitter is just really mad they released it on a Thursday. He's like, who the hell releases on a Thursday? I had work.
Yeah, stop the whole world real quick so this guy can buy a graphics card.
Well, a lot of people work on Saturdays now too, man.
Yeah, I know.
The 9 to 5, the Monday through Friday 9 to 5, that's the boomer gen. That's not us.
And especially now these days, that's just out the window. Everyone's freaking.
Jay's not a boomer. I'm like 20 years late to be a boomer, man. Come on.
You're gonna say 20 years old.
No, my gray hair is 20 years old. Anyway, so we just kind of wanted to talk about this, give you guys some food for thought. There was really nothing to come of this video other than a discussion, because I'll be honest, we don't have the answers. We do have one of these.
But it's in Jay's computer.
And I'm not giving it away. Yeah, it's in my work computer.
Yeah, like I can't even get it. But I mean,
if I could sell it for 80 grand, sorry NVIDIA, I'm gonna, then I could buy that 8K TV.
80 grand? You enjoyed bounce alerts too?
Who the hell's gonna spend that kind of money on sneakers?
What's a Yeezy anyway?
How the hell are you gonna go plow the field in a Yeezy? What's a Yeezy? In my day, we put on work boots. We walked to school.
Steel toe. You got this.
Who can afford the steel? Hey, steel was rare in the war. So anyway, bottom line, I think Steve said it best. If you were outraged and you were mad and your life is coming to a screeching halt and you were just depressed over this launch.
It's just a video card. It's not like it's food and water.
It's sand that does math.
It's easy to say that with that wall of graphics cards behind you.